In this video, it is finally time to do something about the disgusting interior on our Citroen Berlingo. I have purchased a Bissell Spot Clean Pet Pro. We have dogs, it's quite handy for that as well. And I'm going to see if this will do the job on the interior here. Other people have told me these things are magnificent. And having tested it on some really rather grim carpet, the results certainly seem to be impressive. So we're going to give that a go. Before I get into that, do head to the Hubnut store where we've got magnets of many of the fleet members, core fleet members available, including Bob the Camper, erect and folded up. So 9 magnets in total. Go and head to the store. The design on those done by RJW Creative Design, who also did this rather marvellous t-shirt. This was bought for me by Miss Hubnut, a recent present. There is the Berlingo, and yeah, he does amazing work. This is from his own Redbubble store, so RJW Creative Design. Go seek him out, he deserves some love. Let's just do a very quick fleet update. Betty has been default transport for the past few days. Took her down to Bewley for a very fascinating visit to the museum down there, the motoring museum. Go and see that. Got more videos still to come on that as well. Bella the Berlingo has actually been here inside the unit because there is actually space now. There is not space to get Betty indoors, but we can get Bella in just about. So she's been having a bit of a rest, but she's got a busy few days coming up. We are prepping her for the Berlingo meet this coming Sunday. So we do need to smarten the old girl up a bit. Not that there's an awful lot we can do. She's covered in scratches and dents and what have you, but we'll try and make her look her best. All the busyness recently means poor Shemmy is still sat here, but tomorrow morning I'm heading off to Whiteland Restorations to have a word with Lewis there. He reckons he's got an idea to fix the manifold. So the last update was there's another thing broken off the manifold where a hose should connect to this MAPS sensor, manifold absolute pressure I think it stands for, down there. So there's a little hose that goes to that, but the finger's broken off on the manifold. Pain in the backside. Tuck still hasn't moved, although I did see one of her cousins down at the motor museum, which made me think we really need to get this girl out and get her smartened up. That is probably going to be next year's project. Giselle is now under a cover, which is doing a great job of keeping the dust off, because the dust just gets horrendous in here. So this is a bit of a test, but so far she's been under here for a couple of weeks now, I think. And look, there's no dust at all. She's in lovely condition. So I may well be investing in more covers. They need to be moderately waterproof because condensation builds up on the roof and does drop down. But there we are. Ellie, major breakthrough on Ellie. Someone who's a lovely chap is lending me an engine, and then we'll have a longer term solution to sort her out with a proper engine. So the engine project is going to be next year, but I'm being loaned an engine so I can get her back on the road, because it's been ages. I desperately need to get poor Ellie out. I do miss 2CVing. Parts Altset is available to anyone who wants it. It's got a sump that didn't seem to fit a multipler just there. It might fit something else, you never know. But yeah, it's a parts car. Some parts have been taken off. The rear lights have been taken out. The back seat's been taken out. Otherwise, it is largely complete. But obviously, it has had a fairly catastrophic engine bay fire. So the structure is in perilous condition either side. It's all rusted around here at the front as well. I think the combination of water being poured in, extinguent. Yeah, something along those lines, and then sitting around for years afterwards. It's bad news. But this car isn't bad. It still needs sills, floors. It's firmly a project, or it's a good source of spares for anyone who's got an Altset. So if you'd like it, it's available. All the glass is there, most of the trim. It's really not in bad shape, and there are people in the UK who may well have spares to help you if you wanted to restore it. And I reckon there is actually a market for parts, but I haven't got time. I could really do with a space back so we can get the camper in. And then Myrtle again, still just waiting, gradually getting buried. We will get Myrtle out at some point. So that's where we are with the fleet. Missing today is Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy is already at Cambrian Classics. We're going to be doing some waxing on that car, hopefully this week. But we took her there last week so she can be parked up in the dry. And yeah, there's so many showers at the moment that there's too much of a chance we drive the car there and then she'll be wet underneath. So she's there, so she's dry underneath, so we can get the wax straight on. So that should be coming soon. I've got a replacement fog light for the back end of Miss Daisy, and yeah, really looking forward to it. So there you go, mini fleet update. Moving on to Bella. Look how disgusting these seats are. Absolutely grim, and the side mouldings are the same. Just too much human detritus. So I think what I'm going to start by doing is just getting the normal shop vac out, and we'll give her a good hoover out first of all. Plenty of sand and general detritus in here, and then I'll set about actually cleaning the seats. So how the Bissell works is there is a cold water tank here for the formula and water. Actually, I think you're meant to use warm water. That might be a bit of a challenge. I might see what we can do, maybe gently heating it. You spray the water out of that hole there by pressing that button, and then you go over it with the hoover and it sucks it all up here. Catches the worst of it in there and passes the dirty water to this container on the back. And yeah, it seems very effective from what we've done. Lots of people have recommended product, but it came with wash and protect, pet stain and odour. And I thought, well, we'll try that first of all. So I need to get a kettle of water heated up and we can top it up. Interestingly, you top it up on the underside, a bit bizarrely. So there's a little valve there that goes into the machine and gets water all over your legs. So it's a good test for my waterproof trousers. So yeah, I think we'll top up the fluid. I forget what the quantity is meant to be. 74 ml to 3.7 litres of hand hot tap water. To double it, use 148 ml. Well, I haven't got anything to measure it, so I think we'll just pour that much in, and we'll add the water thusly and get going. Now I'm already scope creeping. I'm doing the floors. I'm not meant to be doing the floors at the moment. Right, let's start with this disgusting driver's seat. I'm afraid this is horrendously loud. So here goes. Yeah, rather noisy. Oh, it fell over. That's a good start. I'm trying to show you what's going on here, but you can give it a good squirt. You can see the filth coming out of the seat already. Really, you do this on a nice hot day, but I live in Wales. That might not be ever so possible. But slow and steady is meant to be the way. I think I might be tempted to try and get another brush and agitate somewhat. Oh, look at that. That is already absolutely disgusting. So we are having some effect. I shall keep going. Well, I've given the seat a good going over. I'm not going to know how improved it is until it dries out, because of course it looks darker because it's wet and it is still quite damp. I might give it another going over with this, but look at the state of that. That's disgusting. And there's plenty in the main reservoir on this thing as well, I think. Yep, some has been sucked all the way back into the main reservoir. So yeah, that's pretty grim. So I've been trying to agitate it, give the seat a good soaking, and then agitate it with a stiff brush, and I think that is helping really sort of get in there, because there's only a small brush on the bottom of this, so it has limited effectiveness on its own. But yeah, I feel this can only lead to improvement, so I just need to do more of it. I shall spare you the horrendous noise of this amazing Bissell, which I paid for, by the way. This isn't a sponsored thing. I bought this with my own money. Well, it's really hard to judge progress so far, but that's some of the soup we have pulled out so far. I've done the entire rear seat and the driver's seat, yet to do the passenger seat. Also been doing the side trim here, but it's really difficult to judge because everything still looks dirty. Effectively, just pop that back in. I want to try and give an impression of how wet the seat still are. So press that in nice and hard, and you can see there's a fair bit of moisture still left in the seat. So it's not like you can do this and then immediately put the car into use, because it's going to be damp. But I'm going to have to go around all the plastics as well, because there's plenty of moisture getting all over the place. But I think that's starting to look better already. So we'll have a go on the front passenger seat, because that's also looking spectacularly grim. Don't think I'm going home in this car today. Here we go then. Prepare for more noise. Oh, jeepers. It is so loud. Let it have a nice soak in. We'll do the base before we do the backrest. Yeah, I mean, you are putting a lot of moisture in. I've emptied out the tank already, so I've just had to refill the tank with more cleaner and water. And you know, when you look at the dirty tank, there really isn't that much coming out. A nasty spot on here where I think we used some cleaning wipes or something to clean up a spillage. Oh, need to put it back on for that to work. And here we go. Well, I think it's made an improvement. The seats are still dry, that's still damp, so there will get a bit more colour back. I haven't managed to get rid of this enormous stain. I think that's oil or something that was on the car when we bought it. That hasn't gone away, but definitely looking better, I think. It's hard to tell, to be honest, but yeah, there's still a fair bit of moisture in those seats, so I don't think we'll be taking her home tonight. I've done these side panels as well, they look equally gross. I think I might go around again, but I've probably done a couple of hours to do all 5 seats. Obviously I haven't done the carpets yet, and yeah, exhausting work. It isn't like this is just sort of magic, just wave it at the seats and the seats are clean. You have to get quite physical with it. You have to scrub it, you have to push it deep into the seat to try and suck the moisture out of it. But yeah, I like to think it's making an improvement, but it still looks pretty horrible to me. Bother. Well, I may have found why the shop vac wasn't doing very well for suction. I think you meant to clean these out. Oops. That's not much of a filter. So this is quite interesting. Now I've got the vac working, look at the difference. You can see that. So now using the shop vac to suck away the filthy remnants. It is a wet and dry vacuum, so it's safe to do this. And yeah, you can see the difference that is making, sucking all the moisture out of the seats. Works much better now I've cleaned the filter in it. And that is what we've got in the bottom of the wet and dry vacuum after sucking the seats. The seats are looking fairly splendid, but still quite dirty. I think it's starting to show the dirt up more, unfortunately. I think I'm going to have another go. Oh, I'm really not cut out for this. There's a reason you don't see car cleaning videos very often on Hubnut. I blooming hate it. It's taken hours and it looks barely better than it did before. So let's go again. Well, I do believe we're starting to get somewhere. I think we're a long way from perfect, but yeah, I'm discovering quite rapidly that you don't need a Bissell at all. The Bissell's good and definitely pulls dirt out, but combining it with this is what seems to make the difference. So if I pop this off again, we'll see what we've caught this time. Yeah, look at that. That's just 2 seats. Disgusting. So I think this is actually pulling much more water out. I mean, I've been using this all day, and the dirty tank only has that much water in it. Let's see if we can get it out. So that's from doing the entire interior. We've managed to pull that much moisture out with the Bissell, whereas the wet vac has pulled that out of 2 seats since I last emptied it. So I think that's making itself pretty well known to me. I think that's probably the way to go. This Nilfisk is excellent once you actually clean the filter out. Really powerful. So that might have been an unnecessary purchase. That said, that is still quite useful around the house. In a way, this isn't quite so much. So maybe what I actually need is a squeegee, a brush, and yeah, just some formula for cleaning car seats. Really has come out very nicely. And the back's looking pretty good. We've still got this stain. I might just give that another go again, and just to see whether we can do anything, but by heck, it's all looking rather a lot better in here, I think. I've got no energy left to do the outside, but then why's the point really? She is what she is, which is fairly tired. I may leave the mats out just for next weekend so you can see our secret underfloor storage, which is part of the Berlingo multispath. I did make the mistake of using the vacuum on these, and it's actually pulled them out. But I think if we take that off, we can probably just stuff the material back behind there again. That wasn't my wisest move ever. It's sort of glued to that board, and yeah, unfortunately it's just pulled it straight off the glue. So you have to be a bit careful with that Nilfisk. It really does have an awful lot of suckage. But there we go. That was an interesting experiment in cleaning your car interior. Boot, I'm not bothering. We're going away camping. It's going to be full of chaos anyway. But yeah, useful. We've sucked some disgusting goo out of Bella the Berlingo. So I hope you found that interesting. Don't forget you can head to the store and buy the merchandise, including the magnets and everything. Should you want hoodies, which I've misplaced mine, that's a separate store. So do look in the description. There are 2 Hubnut stores. But otherwise, yeah, we shall see you in a future video. Farewell. Marvellous.